Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Ask Rob and Rob. Every Tuesday morning we try and make you a little bit wiser when it comes to all things property. And that's of course because we get wonderful questions in from you, our wonderful property hubbers. We've got two great questions coming up, but get your questions in, be part of the show. It's super simple to get involved.
Yep, all you got to do is call up 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Or you can go to thepropertyhub.net/ask. Either way, this show only exists because of your questions. So if there's anything that you are vaguely pondering on, you think, it'd be really nice to have an answer to that, send it our way. That's what David did. So let's have a listen to his question.
Hi Rob and Rob, I'm David, currently living in Swindon. First of all, thanks a lot for the Property Hub. I've been listening to your podcast for about 3/4 of a year and attending the Property Hub meetups since just before Christmas last year. I found it all motivational, inspirational and informative. Please keep up the good work. So my main question is, what's the best structure for setting up a deal sourcing and packaging company? How many separate companies should you use? How many websites, etc.? So if I have one company for finding deals and dealing with everyday sellers, the one I know I should keep separate from all other companies, totally different name, etc. And then one company for dealing with investors who pay the deal finding fee, etc. And is it best to keep the company that hold the properties in separate from that? I'm not really sure the best way to forward, really, so I'm hoping you guys can help me. All right, thanks in advance.
Thanks, David. Great that you want to set up a business. Exciting times ahead, hopefully. Now, in terms of the admin of getting the business set up, I wouldn't really overthink it too much. Yes, you probably need a website. It can be one website, it can be two separate ones. It really depends. I would say, though, the more websites you have, the more work you've got to do. And then also you'll probably have two separate brands, again, which means you've got more work to promote both. So more marketing and more admin. The amount of companies you want to set up as well. I'm a little confused because you talked about holding the properties. Most sources do just that. They source. So they don't buy the properties in. They find a deal and then pass it on to an investor. So that can all be done within one company. So hopefully that helps you out in terms of setup. But actually, the much bigger thing to this is that's the easy part. The setup of a business is just the pure admin. A bit of marketing there as well to build some websites. But that doesn't mean you have a business. The hard part of this is the actual sourcing of the properties and building trust with investors to show that you are good at what you do. A general business lesson for everyone. Websites and setting a business up at company's house means you're a long way from having what I would call a real business. So David, absolutely the admin needs to be done, and I'm sure you've got plenty of ideas already. But Rob, would you add anything to that?
Yeah, David, I'd actually build on what Rob said and say that if you haven't done this already, before you do any of that stuff, go out and try doing some sourcing. So you can't actually offer properties out to investors before you've registered with all the right people and so on. So you can't be doing that. But if you haven't already, go and actually spend some time trying to source some deals of the type that you think investors would want and find out whether it's something that you can do, that you enjoy doing, that fits around your other commitments. Maybe it will be, and that's great. But if it's not, then you'll have found out before spending any time on the peripheral bits of business. This is the same as any other business. You just want to get to the point of figuring out whether it's likely to work as quickly as you possibly can. Cut out everything that doesn't matter and just get straight to the heart of it. Figure out, is it a goer? If so, brilliant, I'll invest. If not, never mind, I'll move on to the next idea. So thank you to David for that one. Our next question comes in from Rowena.
Hello, Rob and Rob. My name is Rowena Hickson. I am calling from Bristol. Thank you so much for all the information you put out there. I've just had, about half a day listening to loads of your podcasts, which I've really enjoyed, and it's made me really, really enthusiastic. So thank you so much for all the free information that you give. It's really helpful to not only me, but many other people, I'm sure. Now, I have a question which I'm really hoping that you can help me with. I've asked various people and get various answers back. So it's not been easy, so I'm hoping you can shed some light on my situation. Right, I'm currently doing up my own house to rent out to go and move to another one. But what I have is at the back, I have a plot of land on separate deeds that used to be allotments. And it's quite a large plot, and I reckon you could probably get 2 houses on it or 2 bungalows. Now, the only access to the plot is through my garden, and the gap that is available from the boundary wall of my house to the boundary wall of the neighbours is 7 feet wide. Now, I'm thinking, is that enough vehicle access to comply with building regs, etc., to actually, use that as a plot? Would that be sufficient? A car can get down it, but I'm not quite sure about fire engines and such. So, the Bristol planning people, they just told me to put in a pre-app, which of course would cost me quite a bit of money because I need to get an architect involved, but surely there must be someone out there who knows whether 7 feet is good enough, is big enough, or whether I just need to buy the neighbour's house as well and use part of their garden. Okay, thank you, Rob and Rob. I look forward to hearing your answer on one of the property podcasts. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Great question, Rowena. It can be such a minefield when it comes to planning, and I understand why you find it so challenging. So yes, some local planning authorities are more helpful than others. It sounds like yours hasn't been particularly helpful by saying just put a pre-app in. So what do you do? Well, you could speak to a well-informed architect, and they may be able to guide you based on their experience and what they've seen before, and that might be enough. But you may want to employ the expertise of somebody else, and that's a planning consultant. And yes, the name gives away what they do. They are experts in looking at planning applications, and they will look at your situation and give you guidance on what's realistic or not. There may be some just red flags straight away that rule out your project. Now, not all planning consultants are created equal, so you want one that is probably used to working with your local planning authority. So if your property's in Bristol, there's no point in employing somebody in Scotland, and vice versa. So find a local planning consultant and one that really knows what they're doing. Now, when you give them the details of your application, they may see it straight away that it's not going to be possible and may just tell you for free, or may say, yeah, it's got some challenges, but hopefully we can work through it. So you may get some initial advice, some basic advice up front for free. But really, if you haven't got the confidence or the know-how, then employing their services is probably money well spent. Whatever path you go, whether it's using a planning consultant, an architect, or putting a pre-app in, you're going to spend a bit of money. But there's that old saying, sometimes you've got to spend a bit if you want to make a bit.
So there you go, Rowena. I hope you found that useful. And I'm sure lots of other people listening will have found that useful as well. And that's the beautiful thing about Ask Rob and Rob. If you've got a question and you want it answered, chances are other people will benefit from you asking that question as well. And today we've had a couple of questions about what seem like pretty niche topics, but there will be lots of other people in that situation. So if you've got quite a niche question or just something more broad, send it in 013-808 0035 or go to thepropertyhub.net/ask. That's us done for today. We'll see you back on Thursday for the Property Podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.